The Rams' win over the 49ers wasn't pretty, but it was beautiful because they ended the 49ers season and they greatly improved their playoff chances. We're breaking it all down coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor and subscribe to the fastest growing Rams YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to do me a favor and support the channel, smash that like button. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, SI, Dodgers Nation, Bleacher Report. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I am flying solo, the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. He is out today, but we've got a jam-packed show for you. The Rams beat the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. We're going to break it all down. We're going to tell you what it means for their playoff chances and how high is this Rams team ceiling now that they're getting hot at the right time. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So it wasn't a pretty win, but it was a big win, a meaningful win, a satisfying win, especially when you consider the fact that the Rams have boosted their playoff chances to 50%, and you effectively end your arch rivals, San Francisco 49ers chances. The 49ers, they were the pick to win this division. I picked the Rams to win this division. A lot of 49ers fans called me crazy that, the 49ers window is wide open. They're going to get back to the Super Bowl. Well, now they are going to be in Cancun. Well, the Rams have a chance to be in the playoffs. And I also want to give a shout out to the Rams social media because they absolutely dunked on the 49ers after this one. They did the broomsticks, the sweeping broomsticks, and they did a W, and they had the 49ers boombox that they come out to games with in a trash can. You guys know what I'm talking about, what they post on the X on Instagram, the blank the 49ers. They posted that on their social media. So this rivalry is getting even better because the Rams are having even more success. They go 2-0 against the 49ers this season. It was the first time since 2018 that they swept them in a season, and they now have 3 in a row against San Francisco. They won the last game of the season up in San Francisco, Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold game, and now it's the first time the Rams have won 3 games in a row against San Francisco since 2000-2001. So we all know the Rams had won the game that really mattered most, the 2021 NFC Championship game, but now things have flipped in the regular season. Kyron Williams said after the game that now the 49ers are the little brothers and the Rams are the big brothers. So you love to hear that. But let's dive into this one because it was not a pretty game for the Rams early on. You had scored 44 points against the Buffalo Bills. It was a short week. You're up at Levi Stadium. It's rainy. It's not great weather. And last week, you had punted just 2 times against the Bills all game. Yesterday, the Rams, they eclipsed that number in just their first 3 drives, punting 2 of their first 3 drives. And they went 3 and out on each of their first 4 possessions. They did not pick up a first down until early in the second quarter. In fact, both teams looked pretty lackluster and inept offensively. The Rams and the 49ers combined for 7 punts in the first quarter, and you had a very, very slow start offensively for both teams. And yes, the rain certainly played a role in that. and it led to some drops for both teams. But in the second quarter, that Rams offense, they started to find something that was working for them, was running the football. Joshua Carty's leg was alive in this one, and he makes a 48-yard field goal with 1 minute left in the second quarter to tie the game at 3 apiece. And it was a huge kick that really was big in the grand scheme of things and taking the win in this football game, because Joshua Carty had been struggling for the last couple of weeks. Joshua Carty had really questioned, okay, did the Rams find their answer? Had the Rams really found the answer at the kicking spot? Because he had been shaky of late. He had missed at least one field goal in the Rams' previous 4 games, but he was perfect yesterday. That's my first big takeaway, is Joshua Carty has his confidence back at the right time. When, as he said after the game, in the NFL, every single kick matters. And Joshua Carty went to Stanford. He said after the game that as early as last season, he was a 49ers fan. I mean, he was a 49ers fan. He had family at the game, and it was a big game for him. He said it was kind of reminded of Stanford versus Cal because it was the Rams' big rival. He hits all 4 of his kicks, and the big one that I just mentioned, that 48-yard kick to tie it with 1 minute before the half, that was massive because 1, it was in the rain, and 2, it was tipped at the line, but he hit it so well. He got such great leg on it that it went through the uprights. It gave the Rams 3 points, and it was a huge confidence booster that led to more kicks on the night. He was responsible for all 12 of the Rams' points tonight, and he was absolutely massive in this one. Joshua Carty gets it done for the Rams, and then the Rams fall behind there in the third quarter. The 49ers, they go up 6-3 after a Jake Moody 47-yard field goal. And that was the second time that the 49ers had a lead in this one. And the Rams, they come back. They tied at 6 early in the fourth quarter on a 23-yard field goal after the offense wasn't able to get a touchdown in the red zone. And it was a bad holding call there by Davis Allen. And you were hoping to just get in the end zone, get some points, and run away with this one, but they were playing the field goal game, and thankfully Joshua Carty brought it tonight. Otherwise, they would not have left the Bay Area with a dub. And it was actually the first time the Rams and 49ers had played a game where they hadn't scored a touchdown in the first 3 quarters. And you end up seeing no touchdowns on the night. Cooper Kupp, he didn't have a catch, only had 3 targets. You had Puka Nacua, pretty much the only Rams receiver that was doing anything explosive. In the fourth quarter, Matthew Stafford hits Puka Nacua for a 51-yard completion down the field. That set up the Rams offense inside the 20, but they still weren't able to score a touchdown. 3 plays later, the Rams, they stall once again, and they settle for that 27-yard field goal to take a 9-6 lead. And then the play of the game for me in this one, the next drive for the San Francisco 49ers, you're inside Rams territory. It's just over 5 minutes to play. You're at around the 45-yard line, and Brock Purdy, he launches one intended for Jawan Jennings, and it was a fantastic interception, a great play on the ball, great job tracking that football by Darius Williams, and he makes the interception, and that keeps the 49ers off the board. Remember, yes, they might have not scored a touchdown, but even a field goal ties that one and puts more pressure on this Rams offense. And the Rams did exactly what they needed to do when they got the football back after the interception. On their final drive, they went 4:56. They took 4 minutes and 56 seconds off the clock. They go 69 yards in 13 plays to pretty much all but end this one, giving San Francisco just 18 seconds left with a 6-point deficit. So trailing 6, that was the big play. And also on that drive, got to give credit to Colby Parkinson. This is really one of the most meaningful games that Colby Parkinson had played, and he gets a big 14-yard reception on 4th and 2 with just a few minutes left, and that forced San Francisco to use their second timeout and pretty much all but ended that one. So huge play there by Colby Parkinson. This Rams offense, they step up in a big way. They get the win. They end San Francisco's season, and I think the other really big takeaway in this one is the Rams have proved to us that, one, you can beat elite teams. You've beaten the Buffalo Bills. You've beaten the Minnesota Vikings. You went toe-to-toe with the Detroit Lions on the road. You beat this San Francisco team when they were healthier early in the season at home. And then, two, you can win in different ways. You can win by lighting up the scoreboard. And then tonight you had a really nice defensive effort, a really nice job running the football with a Kyron Williams game and a Blake Corum game. And then your defense, they made the plays when you needed to. And you just have this resiliency. And that's what I love about this Rams team. It's the resiliency that they play with in the last couple of weeks. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a football team that started 1-4 and now they're 8-6. They've won 7 of their last 9 games and they're in really good shape now. They're the favorites to win the NFC West. So I'm excited about this Rams team. And coming up next, we're going to give out game balls to give you more takeaways from the Rams' big 12-6 Thursday night football game over the San Francisco 49ers. Don't worry. I'm not going to quit on this episode like Devondre Campbell did to the 49ers. I'm not going to quit like him, okay? I'm not going to do that. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. All right, I want to talk about a game I play almost every single day, and that's our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Now, the cool thing about Prize Picks is it's easy to use, it's fun, and you can make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account sports this season as well. And you can join because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Now, if you're an NBA fan, if you're an NFL fan, there's always something to play over at Prize Picks. Let's look at tonight. Lakers fans, you could go over, and it's more or less 45.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Anthony Davis tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Joel Embiid against the Pacers, more or less 29.5 points. Nikola Jokic, more or less 31.5 points. So if you got the hunch, if you got the feeling, it's more or less. Now you can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On NFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. And a reminder that today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite, and right now you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easier to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. Minimum purchase may apply. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also want to send a special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching, listening every single episode of Locked On Rams, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends. And we are going to be super locked in. So we got a new schedule down, doing some afternoon shows, have them ready for the mornings to get you guys this show every single morning, by at the very least 9 a.m. So new schedule, be on the lookout for that. And also we're doing some weekend episodes as well, getting some interviews on this stuff. So a lot of exciting stuff happening for Locked On Rams. But yeah, definitely a big shout out to those every listeners out there. Cannot thank you enough. And this is the time to join that every listeners club, because you got the playoffs potentially. You got some very meaningful football games coming up, and you're playing meaningful, relevant football in December. So join that every listeners club and you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. Okay, here in our second segment, I want to talk about the defense. And heading into this season, one of the big storylines was, how would new defensive coordinator Chris Schula do replacing Raheem Morris, who's now the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons? And I think at this point we know Chris Schula is that man. One of the biggest reasons why they won tonight was the defensive effort and the scheming against this 49ers offense. The Rams defense held the 49ers offense to 191 total yards, 121 yards of total offense tonight. That was a season low for San Francisco. It was the second lowest yardage output ever by a Kyle Shanahan coach 49ers team. Only time that they've been held to anything lower than that was a 2022 NFC title game, and they really didn't have a QB in that one. So the Rams went up there in the rain, and that scheme by Chris Schula and the defensive effort by this Rams team made a huge difference. And we're going to do winners and losers on tomorrow's show, but Akella Witherspoon had himself a really, really nice game. And I think, too, one thing that really stands out is how they were able to defend that Hail Mary late in this one. A lot of times you see it's pretty much standard around the NFL the way you're going to defend a Hail Mary. You're going to rush three. You're going to put all of the defenders in coverage. And by doing that, yes, typically that leads to a W. It's rare that you see the Hail Mary. Of course, you had the Jane Daniels to Noah Brown earlier in the year, and that was a deflection. But when this occurs, what happens is you always see the same thing. The quarterback breaks the pocket. He's able to get a running start and step into that throw. And a good amount of time, that quarterback's able to get that ball in the end zone, or at least close to the end zone, where it's a tip pass and someone has an opportunity. You had defenders trying to knock it down. Well, how about Chris Schula being extra aggressive in this one? Not leaving any doubt, because it's a 12-6 game. If they somehow, some way were magically able to get a Hail Mary, that extra point is going to win you the football game. Well, Chris Schula said, not on my watch. He brought 5 rushers. He had Christian Roseboom and Cam Curl blitzing Brock Purdy in that situation. So that really got me excited seeing that in that situation. Is you're saying to yourself, you know what? We are going to win this football game. And look, we are not afraid of the 49ers. We are going to blitz. We're going to send guys and make sure we get to the quarterback. And it was a great defensive effort from this team. And I think you look at the stars of this one, and Kobe Turner was a beast once again. Kobe Turner is making it a very, I wouldn't say smooth transition, because you can never replace an Aaron Donald. The guy literally is Bruce Banner in football cleats. But I know for a fact, without having this confirmed, that when Aaron Donald watches this team, he's got a smile on his face when he sees Kobe Turner, when he sees this defense and these young guys emerging the way they're doing. And Kobe Turner tonight, he ends with 5 tackles, hit the QB twice, had 2 sacks, had 2 tackles for a loss. I mean, he was absolutely huge in this situation. And then other guys on the defensive side that really stepped up, how about Byron Young? How about Byron Young and Darius Williams and the rest of this Rams defense that continues to prove that every single week young players are getting better. Cam Curl's getting better too. And like I said, going back to Kobe Turner, he was in the backfield all night. He really was. And he did a great job stopping the run. He was rushing the passer. And I think that in this game, you needed someone to get after Brock Purdy because you didn't have CMC. They're down to their fourth string, third string running back. I mean, they're losing running back. So Brock Purdy was the guy that was going to have to win this game for them. And that play that he used to really stall that drive right there was huge. I mean, the pressure on third down. I mean, you see him getting in the backfield, causing a pass that was obviously dropped by Juwan Jennings. He drops that, and it was the pressure from Kobe Turner that made that happen. So he was great his rookie season, and then he's even better this year. So he was huge. And then Darius Williams was huge as well. We talked about that big interception when they needed it the most. And it wasn't the best game for the Rams secondary. Ahkello Witherspoon had some ups and downs, but he had to step up because Kobe Durant was out in this one. Kobe Durant injured in this one, dealing with that lung injury. He's going to be fine, but he missed this one. And he was good. He broke up some passes. I think the one that he broke up that was intended for Ricky Pearsall, he forced that incompletion. He also did one also against a pass intended for Juwan Jennings. So it really was a much better showing for Ahkello Witherspoon. He did give up a couple catches to Jennings, Pearsall, and Kittle, but it was a real bend but don't break for Ahkello, and he got the job done. Williams, that interception, like we talked about in the first segment, was absolutely massive. That could have tied the game up potentially with the kick and could have led to a touchdown too, where they take the lead. So that's one of the best receivers in the league essentially at this point. And just a great pick, just a great job in tracking that football. So I thought defensively they did a really nice job. And then also you got to talk about Cam Curl as well. I mean, Cam Curl, you can make the case, was right there with Kobe Turner because of the plays that he was making. The defense he played against George Kittle. He had a really nice pass breakup over George Kittle right over the middle. Then later, he was great in coverage down the sideline. He forced another incompletion that was intended for George Kittle. So he is really starting to play his best football right now. And now you can see that when he's matched up against some of the best tight ends and trying to go out there and make plays, he can do that. So great job by this Rams defense. You're holding this desperate 49ers team to just 6 points. 6 points. You hold a Kyle Shanahan offense to under 200 yards. It was absolutely massive and a fantastic job by this Rams defense. But coming up next, we're going to take a look at the Rams playoff picture and what this win did and how they could win this division. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. All right, let's talk about FanDuel. NFL fans, you could start this season with a big return on FanDuel. Of course, America's #1 sportsbook. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game and you think now may not be a bad time to get in there and check out all the latest stats, you can view live play-by-play. And, of course, there's so much more on the same page where you're placing your bets. So we're going to get you started at FanDuel with a $200 bonus bets. That's $200 bonus bets guaranteed when you play your first $5 bet. Now, let me say that one more time. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Now let's see what's going on over at FanDuel. And after last night's win, the Rams are the favorites to win the NFC West at -105. So that big win already puts the Rams as the favorites to win the division. The Seahawks are right behind them at +105 and the Cardinals at +1100. So your Rams are in good shape today, have to keep winning, but right now they are the favorites. So you can find this stuff and so much more over at FanDuel. You go to FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app on your phone, and you're getting started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, here in our third segment, we're going to talk about the updated playoff odds. We're going to continue to break down this win. We'll do some winners and losers tomorrow. But heading into this one, the Rams had a 36% chance of making the playoffs. Had they have lost against San Francisco, that would have dropped to 25%. And on top of that, you lose control of your own destiny. And that's what you don't want to do, especially this late in the season. But now after the win, the Rams have a 50% chance of making the playoffs. And the games to watch this weekend are those division matchups. If the Seahawks lose and the Cardinals lose on Sunday, the Rams, their playoff chances go all the way up to 65%. 65% if that is the case. So that is what you want to do. That's what you want to do is, hey, there's nothing better to me when you're playing a Thursday night football game and your team wins. I mean, how satisfying is it to watch just football in general? But even now you have matchups that you want to pay attention to. Now, the Cardinals, they're at home against a 3-win Patriots team. So you got to like the Cardinals in that one. It is any given Sunday, but still they're favored. But the Packers are going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. And the Seahawks defense has improved, but the Packers, they're talented. They can beat anyone. They almost beat the Lions. And I like the Packers going up to Seattle and giving the Seahawks all they can handle and potentially getting that one. So those are really the two to look out for that could really even improve the Rams' playoff chances. And you look at where this Rams team is, like we talked about, 1-4 to 8-6. To a team that's won 7 times in their last 9 games. I mean, that's just incredible considering the injuries, what they've dealt with. Got to give this Rams team a lot of credit. And it's pretty simple at this point. If the Rams win their next 3 games, where now you have 10 days to rest for a reeling, one of the worst in the league Jets teams. Yes, it's a road game. You can't take anyone lightly. But you got a Jets team with 10 days off. And then you got 2 division matchups at SoFi Stadium, Arizona and Seattle. So at the very worst, you want to go into that Week 18 matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. If you're just a game back, well, you already took the road dub early in the season on the Demarcus Robinson overtime walk-off game-winning catch. So all you need is a win there and you're in and you win the NFC West. But you control your own destiny. If the Rams win their next 3 games against the Jets, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, they will win the NFC West, and they'll finish with an 11-6 record. The Seahawks, they could go 11-6, but they'd have 2 losses against the Rams. So that's the situation that we are in, and we're going to break this down a little more in depth during the weekend because we're going to look at what the Cardinals and Seahawks have to do and things like that. But still, your Rams are in a really, really good chance and in a really good position to make this postseason. And it's a great thing. I mean, the Rams are getting hot. The Rams are getting hot at the best of times. And I'm here to tell you, don't let this Rams team get hot, NFL. The last thing you want to do is go up against a hot Matthew Stafford, a Puka Nacua that missed a good portion earlier this season that I think has a lot left in the tank this year and is looking healthier at this point of the season. Cooper Kupp didn't have his best game, but still, he's right there. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, they found something. You found some cohesion, stability on the offensive line. How about Colby Parkinson stepping up making plays? You're going to get Tyler Higbee back. The defense is emerging. Don't let the Rams get hot. But the Rams, they beat the San Francisco 49ers. They end their season. And really, the Rams season feels like it's just getting started because lots of meaningful, relevant, hopefully playoff football ahead for your Los Angeles Rams. But always feels good to beat the San Francisco 49ers because now SF stands for season finished. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.